Hey there, friendlies. How's up? No sound. Can everyone hear me, or is it just David, or is it me? Drummer's back. Okay, good. All right, I saw David say no sound, and because I had trouble with my members only live stream last week, I'm all paranoid all over again. So, whatevs, right? So, let's get this back on track, shall we? Hey there, friendlies. Welcome to the Bevvies, Blades, and Bushcraft live stream, where we have some bevies. We have, some blades, and we're going to talk about a little bit of bushcraft. Tonight I have a kind of a cool reading for you. It's from an article called The Nature of Things from the August edition of Canada's History magazine. Those of you who grew up in Canada will recognize the title The Nature of Things as a science show on the CBC, but that's not what this article is about. But before we get to the show, I just want to say, as I always do, the usual housekeeping stuff, which is where I say that if you're watching this time shifted to tomorrow or next week or next month or whatever, thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting down below. I do love knowing that those eyes are on the content even after the fact, and that some of you are moved to comment. If at any point tonight you'd like to tell me that you love what's going on, that's great. You can just hit the smiley thumb. If at any point tonight you kind of want to tell me that you hate what's going on, you can hit the frowny thumb. That works just as well. And if you'd like to take a more active role in supporting the channel, keeping the lights on, keeping the filming goodies improving, then I invite you to visit the join button wherever YouTube has it right now. If you click on that, you will see that there are 2 tiers of membership, as well as what each tier gets you. Excuse me. So now, what's been happening in bushcraft this week? First off, there's for those of you who are in California or in the States and do a lot of hiking, there's a large section of the Pacific Coast Trail in California that has just been protected. Piece of land in question, I'm just looking for a map, but of course I'm not finding one. That's okay. The piece of land in question is Girard Ridge and its surroundings, which have been added to the Shasta Trinity National Forest. So the land in question is like 1,172 acres, whatever that is in hectares, and it includes 2.5 miles of the Pacific Coast Trail, which is pretty good. Then, in a big win for right to roamers in the UK, I'm trying to figure out how to frame this one. Last Monday, a court overturned a previous court's decision that blocked public camping in Dartmoor National Forest in the UK. The way national forests work in the UK is different than here. Yeah, whereas in Canada, or of course in the States, a national park is a federally mandated piece of land, federally run. In the UK, it tends to be more of sort of like a quilt of public and private land, and Dartmoor National Park was like the one park where a backpacker could just sort of roll up, pitch a tent without asking a landowner's permission. Last January, a court blocked that, and now just this past Monday, well, the one before yesterday, I believe, another court overturned that decision, which is seen as a big win for backpackers in the UK. This is related to the right to roam in the UK, where you can day walkers or hikers can cross private land. They can't sort of stop and pitch a tent. And so what's happening is that now advocates are saying it's time to open up the other national parks to public camping. So here's kind of a cool one. Next is that 65-year-old Nova Scotian Mark Furman has just completed a quick 11,000 kilometer kayak journey from home in Nova Scotia all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico and back. Sort of a large circle. In a kayak. The trip took 14 months, and he said that whereas he's grateful for the experience, he's never doing that again. So links for all these stories are in the show notes below, and of course, none of this is sponsored content. So before we get to the reading, I'm going to pour this beverage, and then we're going to see who's hanging with me. So we're about to find out if Serge is with us here. So you guys know that I do like a stout, although summer is not really a stout season, I find, but why not? This is something called a dry stout. Oof. So this is something called a dry stout. This is by Alchimiste Microbrasserie in Joliette. C'est dans les règles de l'art. Oh, yeah. Blah, blah, blah. That's marketing piffle. But, of course, it's only in French. It's in the rules of the art that we have brewed this stout, this classic British style stout that's malted and kind of toasty. It's about subtlety. It's all in subtlety that this dry stout. This is marketing piffle. Never mind. And it's not even worth the translation effort. There we go. Let's give it a sniffy sniff and a try. Smells good. Toasted and malty is definitely the right words. So who's with us? Let me just take a look in the side Chitty McChat. We got 17 people watching us. That's cool. Wait, 17 people watching, but how many thumbs ups? 8 thumbs up. 17 people watching and 8 thumbs ups. What's up with you peeps? What is up with you peeps? Okay, let's just pop out the chat from the YouTube. Won't let me pop it out. Of course not. There we go. Sorry, guys. Pop out chat. Because it is, as I have said before, sometimes useful to see the YouTube chat. All right. So many windows open. I'm closing some of these windows because it's taking up too much of my room here. Sorry, folks. All right. So let's see who's hanging with us. Come on, fool. All right. We got Grace popping in at 8:45 saying, here we go. Here we went. We got Peanut Trucker in the house. Please note that little Channel Hero logo next to his name. Canadian in the house. Nice to see you. Nice to see those names popping up. Everyone's just sort of saying hi to one another. Grace showing off. She's retired now, so every day's the weekend. David Evans, how's it going? Saying hi. Hey, SV Raven Flintlock. How's it going, Jim? What are you doing here so early? Huh? A new job, I think, right? We got Russell from Raspberry Rock. Russell, I tried to do what you told me to. Let me know if I did that right. If I used the right email address. If not, I'll fix that. Christy, please note the Channel Hero logo next to icon next to Christy's name. How's it going, Christy? How's it going, Mike with Hike? What? Hike with Mike? Sorry. I hope all is well down there in Florida tonight. There's Linda. I think that is supposed to be an emoji. There she is. Canadian was jury rigging pulleys and ropes this afternoon to get kayaks into the garage ceiling. Easier at work. Nice. I have been trying to figure out what I'm going to... Like, you guys know that I want to throw $5,000 at a canoe, at a Swift, or maybe a Novacraft. But, like, I don't know where I would put it. So I was thinking of doing something like what Canadian says, like put sort of a pulley system inside my garage or something. Just hoik it up to the ceiling. But, like, do I buy the canoe first, or do I build the system first, right? Hey, there's Tim Kiki. How's it going? How are you doing tonight, Tim? All right. Okay, loud and clear. Everyone's saying that you can, in fact, hear me. That's good. That's very good. Hot as a box in a forest fire. Yeah, it's hot here too, but it's kind of not too bad tonight for once, which I'm very happy about. There's Kelly Flynn, Channel Hero. Please note the Channel Hero logo. A couple of these peeps hung out for my horribly awkward and barely working members live stream a couple of days ago. I'm not loving the sound problems with Streamlabs. Got to find something else to do. David Evans doing the God's good works by telling us how to by telling everyone to hit that thumbs up. There's something interesting. Look at that. Welcome to the what are you, Scouts? Welcome to the Scouts, country boy. Nice to have you on the team. I like it. That makes me happy. Now, I'm just going to pop back a little bit. I'm trying to sort of not suck at this, but... A lot of people just are asking... Linda's going kayaking tomorrow to Horn Lake using a GoPro. Got a large storage SD card. That is good. If you're filming it, it's going to be great. So, Horn Lake, is that going to be like a full day trip, Linda? Is it like a full day trip, or is it a half day? Hike with Mike says, we had 2 large parcels purchased under Florida Forever Act in my area, so I'm happy about that, but the state needs to purchase a heck of a lot more. It's good news for once in my area. Yeah, you know, it's a tough go, because for everyone who wants a piece of land sort of protected for posterity, there's a company that wants to dig under it, right? So it's like every time something is protected for posterity, you sort of breathe a sigh of relief. Marcus, how's it going, Marcus? Welcome to the show. There's Jennifer. How's it going? Or are you and Chris in the same state tonight, or are you guys chit-chatting over the long distance? Oh, it's hard to catch up. There's Carol. How's it going? And please note that Carol is a channel hero. Boo 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 boo. Boo 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 boo. Canadian is having some trouble with his spell check tonight. David Evans is doing the God's good works again, telling everyone to become a member. Grace says, wait, if I own the land, anyone can camp on it without me having a say, then what's the point of owning it? Am I missing something? Glad it's hooked into, like, land ownership in the United Kingdom is very, very bizarre, because you're talking about like at least a millennium of history, right? From, Sherwood Forest, for instance, having been, the personal forest of the king kind of thing, to, people owning, like families owning up to 8% of the island and all this stuff. And what happened was, traditionally in the UK, there was this idea called the commons. It's still there. And wealthy landowners started chipping away at the commons by putting in like hedgerows and fencing off parcels of land, which began to, it gets in the way of like the right to roam if you have to climb over a fence kind of thing. What a lot of landowners will do is, because you need to have a hedgerow or like a little stone wall to keep the sheep in or whatever, so they'll build like little steps up one side and down the other. It's 98% of this is non-confrontational. It's just the right to roam has been there for well, it was finally codified in law like maybe a quarter century ago, but it has traditionally been there as a the United Kingdom Constitution is largely unwritten. So there are all these things that are, considered constitutional, but are not actually codified anywhere. The closest thing they have is the Magna Carta, which has governed many of their laws, and by the way, was a building block for the U.S. Constitution and several other constitutions. But yeah, the flip side is that when someone is crossing your land, they have to be respectful. Nobody has been blocking off or trying to block off access to their land. If the people trying to cross it have been, respectful and classy about it. The idea of land ownership in the United States and here in Canada is very different. It's a lot more like mine. But anyway, I would love to do a walking tour of like the Lakes District or something someday. My dad did it recently. I think it was like 10 years ago. That's not recent. Hold on. What is Marcus referring to? David, did you get like a lantern again or something? Did you get like a lantern again? David's got some really cool, Coleman lanterns. I can understand that because I look at the one that's sitting here that Russell bought me and the little one that I bought. I could easily see myself getting like 6 hurricane lamps, So I could totally see the attraction. I think it's, David, you do have like 4 or 5 of those Coleman camp lanterns with the little mesh bag in them that you pump, right? Am I misremembering that? I think you do. And I think you said that Marcus was your enabler. Look at that. Trying to buy a 5121, but the seller's being a jerk. Marcus says, we hear you and someone yelling in the background. Yeah, that's my wife and kids. I think they're having an argument. Whiskey Harbor, how's it going? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Apparently we're up to 15 thumbs up, but we're down to 16 people watching. I hope those numbers don't sort of like meet and pass each other. Okay, we've caught up with Country Boy having become a member. Hey, look at that. Chris has been a member for 2 months. Nice. I like it. Thank you for your long-standing support. Hold on. Damn it. I lost it. Where the hell was I? Everything jumped and now I'm lost. Linda says, not a full day. Lunch and then other things to do. Okay. Country Boy said, I forgot what day it was. Damn long weekends. I was fishing a leather project and got discombobulated. Anyone ever hear of horse brass? No. Oh, yes. Grace has, but Jesse has not. Linda's been having problems with YouTube. Poor reception. Bell bought TELUS. I heard bunch of us have reception problems. I hate Bell. Bell Canada is Satan's children. You're making a leather display piece for some horse brass. I don't know what the hell. Wow, David's up to 9 Coleman lanterns. Okay, that's a respectable number. Okay, I've caught up. So I'm gonna do the reading. Oh, before I do the reading, I just have to. I love this idea, Chris. I collect old lamps, so Jennifer and I can turn the power off and sit by the dim light like in the 1800s and just look at each other. I loved lantern light. Sorry about that, folkies. So, as I said, this wasn't the reading I was gonna do this week, but when I did read this, it was just too evocative for me not to. First of all, look at that picture of camping in like the 1950s. Look at that. I'm not going to read the opening paragraph. I'm going to read 2 little bits and bobs, okay? First of all, here's the gist of the story is that as people became more urbanized, the pull of camping and the effects of not getting enough green space became more pronounced. And so I found that this article, it's almost like a survey course of the thing, right? 1800s, 1950s kind of, but anyways, whatever. Where do I want? Upper middle classes led to swap hotels and country cottages for tents. Okay. In the Métis, I'll start that again. In the mid-1800s, urbanization meant that many families spent their whole lives in developed areas, surrounded by buildings and people instead of plants and animals. As a result, city dwellers felt disconnected from nature, and it was commonly believed that this was making them less healthy and hardy. Getting away from the city's smog and grime was a regular doctor's order, and many publications encouraged people to spend time in the country to become stronger. For instance, an 1893 Winnipeg Tribune article titled Physical Training for Women recommended exercise, sunshine, and fresh air to strengthen the nervous system and dispel disease. One easy way to get all of this was a camping trip. At the same time, adventure novels were very popular, particularly stories of the colonial frontier. These romantic depictions made the settlement of the West into an exciting fantasy for readers, who sometimes wanted to imitate the characters they read about by living off the land. Campers would often pretend to be settlers, cowboys, or even indigenous people, copying the stereotypes and caricatures? I don't know that word in English very well. The books created. Camping practices in the 1800s encouraged bringing only the barest necessities and relying on the land for everything else. People washed and fished in lakes and rivers, hunted and foraged for food in the forest, and built shelters from branches and deadfall. They hiked and canoed to get around. Without established campgrounds, people relied on their environment and each other to have a good experience in the wilderness. The popularity of camping, carried into the 20th century, becoming more accessible with new technologies like the automobile. Permanent summer camps grew in number to offer rental sites and programs for people to join. Youth organizations such as the Boy Scouts and Girl Guides were established and taught outdoor skills to new generations of young people. It goes into, camping today and everything, but how familiar does that sound? Like when the plague hit and there was nowhere for anyone to go, and so all these urbanites just flocked to the campgrounds and trashed the place. Like, I don't know, it's just, how familiar is that? Like, as we become urbanized, the pull of the wilderness gets louder. Sometimes at the back of our head, right? I know a lot of people who don't like camping and all that stuff, but the whole sort of, the Gaia theory and Gaiaphilia and all that stuff, how there's a belief in the scientific community that if you don't get any outdoors time or green time, even just like a park or even just a plant, it can have a real effect on your head. It's amazing how in the 1800s people were already talking about this kind of stuff, you know, and doctors were prescribing time in the woods to to increase hardiness and decrease disease. Like, it's not new. You know what I'm saying? It's not new. People have been thinking this way for a long time. And it's funny that we see, you know, the bushcraft sort of golden age that we're in right now, and this desire to get into the woods and all that is something very 21st century. You know, like I remember reading, listening to a podcast. I think I mentioned this to you guys before, but I was listening to a podcast by the two guys who run what the hell is the name of that magazine? Mortis and Tenon. Didn't even have to look at my phone. And one of them, well, I think they both, but one of them anyway was talking about a course he was teaching, like a basic woodworking course at a symposium or whatever. And and he was asking like what people do and everything. And like the vast majority of the people in his class were like tech workers and stuff like that. People who do nothing with their hands, people who are knowledge workers, and how it seems that as the world becomes more and more digital and knowledge working and gig economy and all that, that people seem to need that other side, work with their hands in wood or hit the bush, you know. But it's not new. And look at what Thoreau was writing, sitting there on Walden Pond, even though he didn't spend his entire life, camped out at Walden Pond. I mean, listen to what he was saying. Guys like, Kephart and Nessmuk, you read their writings, and, they talk about the lily-livered urbanite. But it's just maybe these guys are more in touch with something that we're still talking about today. You see, stories in the news about how, people are hitting the outdoors, in record numbers and everything, but it's not new. I find stuff like that fascinating. How, we think of something as a 21st century cultural imperative, and we're actually talking about something that is part of the human experience. We're not that special. Isn't that cool? Like, isn't that kind of like right in your face? 1896, they're writing articles about get your ass to the outdoors, to save the hardiness of your spirit and your body. Fascinating. And they were already talking about smog, right? They I don't know if they really called it smog, but they were already talking about like noxious urban air versus the clean, crisp, air of the greenwood. It's just amazing, man. It's crazy. It's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. And something. I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Are you guys actually talking? Because I'm just I'm just gonna scroll back and see if I'm just boring you guys, or if that was resonating with anyone. Because that story resonated with me, man. And like even these pictures of, camping in the 50s. I mean, look at that one. Look at that. Look at that car, that canoe, those campers. Pictures like that sort of bring me back to when I was a kid and we had one of those pop-ups. And I mean the scene for 1956 or 1974 or whatever, not that different. Yeah, the car is different, but still the same picnic table with the same sort of campsite stove or whatever. Maybe those mosquito spirals on the table, right? You know, those ones that you stick onto this little sort of weird stamped metal stand. You light it, and as it burns, it scares away the mosquitoes. You guys have memories like that, right? I feel like we've had this conversation before. Russell tells David to place all the lanterns around him, kneel in the middle, and conjure Satan. Okay. Linda sits in the dark every night with mood lights on. I would love to sit in the dark with my lanterns on. I love the quality of lamp oil light, candle light, stuff like that. You guys know that. You know, I've blobbed about that enough. Hey, there's Bitamansky. How's it going? How's it going, sir? Welcome to the side chat. Pam. Whoops. Hi, Pam. How's it going? Did you get here in time for my my endless blah 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 from my reading? Apparently the lantern pickings have become slim around Marcus lately. It's because you guys keep buying them all. Linda says, I have a blue Evon camping light on, a green light and candlelight, and a yellow glass lantern. Nice. Apparently pickings are still good around where David is. Like, man, pickings around where I live are not great. Montreal is in a I don't know, wasteland as far as cool old stuff like that is. Like a lot of our actually a lot of our antique stores are gone now, but you know, they had a lot of like high-end furniture and stuff, not a lot of things like axes and lanterns and planes. Oh my. Chris says, I was glad we had the Boy Scouts growing up. We're always outside hiking and learning to survive. Yep, that's cool. Airstream does look the same today. Absolutely. If I was into camping with a camper instead of just sort of like a tent or a hammock, there's a real magic to those old Airstreams, eh? Russell just discovered something, and he's so happy. I shudder to think. Shudder to think. Country Boy emailed me at Gmail a couple of pics of horse brass. Give me one little second. I'll see if I will quickly see if I can find it. If I can't, I'll just move on and we'll horse brass sent from my galaxy. Oh, okay. I'm gonna share that as soon as I find the windows. I'm gonna share that. Okay. Trying to present the screen. There it is. So those are those things that just hang on the front of the horse, right? Or hang around like, yeah, I get it. Very nice. I'm going to remove that from the stream so that I don't accidentally show an email address or anything. Oh, I see. Russell discovered that he loves beer. All right. Destiny comes out swinging. Just a thumbs up or our child gets a mullet. Hey, I live in Quebec. A lot of children here have mullets. Sweet. Pam did get here in time for my endless reading. So I don't know. What did you think, Pam? Like, what do you guys... I love sort of thinking about old school camping. I do wonder, though, if I would enjoy old school camping. Like, I have this warmth towards it because that's what camping was when I was a kid. But like, as a kid, you're kind of immune to some of the more frustrating elements of doing anything with 70s era tech, 50s era tech, you know, even 80s era tech. That's why I'm so into this idea that I have of doing a 70s style camp out using vintage gear. Which reminds me, I have to get back on that. I need to get a vintage tent, like a 70s era tent. I need a backpack. I've been trying to source one, but like people have this concept that these are, classic collectible backpacks. I don't want to spend classic collectible money. I'm not going to treat it like a classic collectible. I want a scrappy old backpack to throw a bunch of scrappy old stuff in and do a camp out like it's 1978, 76, something like that. Destiny is laying it on thick for good old David. Hello to gentlemen of all gentlemen, sir of all sirs, David Coleman, Landred Evans. Nice. I'm just taking a look to make... man, Destiny's really... She's an expert at salutations tonight. What's going on, Destiny? What is up? Gosh, look at that. Pam says, getting outdoors isn't new. I thought camping in the 70s, you needed a truck to haul everything where you were going. Everything was a lot heavier back then, for sure. Absolutely. But there was no concept that everything was heavy, right? That's just what stuff weighed. So yeah, you had a station wagon, maybe a panel wagon, right? A wood paneled size and everything. What am I drinking tonight? I'm having a dry stout by Alchemist Microbrasserie. I don't know what whiskey I'm having at 10. I don't think Al is here. You know what? I'm going to have Glengoyne 10 because it's 43%, so I'm not afraid of getting 3 shoots to the wind. So in 3 minutes, somebody remind me to pour that dram. Being a Trucker says, I think you'd like 1800s camping. Open fire, cast iron pot and pan. No phone, no noise, no distraction. I'm ready. We can all go. What was that guy's name in Texas? Kenneth Cram? Is that it? Do I have that right? Maybe not. Kind of an old guy. Real kind of mellow air around him. He did a series on... I think a couple of series on camping the way they did in the 1800s. He did one on like sort of the camp roll. Like you wrap everything up in a wool blanket and sling it across your shoulder. And it looks... Yeah. I like that kind of stuff. I just, I was reading Kephardt's book again and thinking the stuff that these guys talk about as being lightweight makes me think that these guys are hulks, Anyways, if I wanted to do 1800s camping, I'd have to find Pantas out. Russell says, we camped in the 70s. All I remember is late night games of Risk under tarps because it was raining and everyone's shouting at once. Hilarious. Austin's here. In your hunt for a rucksack, I'd like to make a recommendation. Look for a surplus German rucksack. They have the classic look with modern materials. Not as cheap as they once were. Not crazy. That may have to stand in, but I would really love to find an actual vintage 70s rucksack. Like the whole idea of this. The one thing that the rule I set for myself is it either has to be vintage, which doesn't mean it has to be from 1976. It can be from 1968, but it has to be the kind of thing that was available to somebody doing a wild camp in the mid to late 70s. Maybe I could go as far as 79. Like whatever gets me into the ballpark. or it has to be something that is made the same as it was back then. Like I have a little Primus stove, and it looks like it's still made the same way. It's their classic. It looks like it's still made the same way as it was back in the day. So maybe I can use that. If not, like I'll try to find. I think my Coleman stove is still made the same way as they made them back then, actually. The thing about a stove is I'm afraid of buying or acquiring an old stove that has like a leaking fuel line or something that I don't know about until I try to light it and injure myself. But I'm pretty sure I can replace parts and stuff if that is the case. Homie Omi in the house. How's it going? Just Chris says pour the dram. Destiny's video is off from the sound. Time for a new laptop. You know, it's funny because I was mentioning in the last live stream how I really miss having a laptop. How I don't regret this machine because for editing, it saved me $1,000 over buying a laptop with the same stats. But I miss the freedom of finding my, the news stories of the week for my live streams, or watching Russell while I'm doing the dishes, every Friday or whatever, like on an actual screen. I find that I'm trying to do a lot of that stuff on this little guy, and it's not the same. And somebody, it might have been David, suggested maybe an iPad. And it's funny because we've literally just bought Camille an iPad for school for next year. We had to buy it early because we had to take it to the school so they could set it up, blah, blah, blah. I'm not sold on the iPad as a laptop replacement yet, though. Not quite. One thing I haven't said yet tonight is tea is a good drink. Hey, Russell, why don't we celebrate you being an admin again by letting you pop yourself on? Oh, Christy says get a Polish lavu. Yeah. Get a lavu. Not a bad idea. Is Russell going to bring himself on? Is he waiting for 10 o'clock or should I just bring him on? Think I should just surprise him? We'll wait. But yeah, Destiny, I understand needing a new laptop. It looks to me like Russell's having trouble, so I'm not going to pop him on. Unless... Can you bring yourself on, Russell? Drop a note in the side chat if you can or cannot. Destiny liked the Lipstick Lodge sign. Yeah, it's really cool. I think that's made of it's. I've asked you about that before, Linda, didn't I? Was it laser cut out of steel? Something like that. Yeah, Russell is on and then disappearing, so I'm gonna. Hold on a second. Having difficulties. There we go. You know what? I'm just going to take note of the lavu. Not a bad idea. But that's... I've lost my window. Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at that. They're small, though, right? Because aren't they ponchos or something? They look like ponchos. I just looked at a picture of one. Yes, he's having technical difficulties. Camping in the Hi, Shawnee. That's not what I meant to click on, but hi, how's it going? Pam, who before I believe I said was a channel hero, if you see that icon next to her name. In the 70s, their game of choice is Uno. We play a fair amount of Uno around here because Camille really likes it. Camille does like it. I'm looking for. Oh yeah. Where is it? David said we still play 31 and euchre. Euchre is an old-fashioned game. Chris always loses at Uno. So do I. Absolutely. 5 more minutes until Scotchy Scotch time. Russell, if you want me to bring you on, blink twice. Russell is experiencing technical difficulties. Did I hit everything I needed to hit before 10 p.m. here? We did. Oh, the question of the week in our last 5 minutes is, it's something I noticed because I'm trying to sort of troll the news all week to see if anything pops up, which is not always just like in the news. Sometimes it's magazines or whatever. When you guys, like when the news is happening sort of in the periphery or whatever, what perks your ears up? Like if something about somebody surviving, lost in the forest and surviving for a week, or news about a new national park or a new hiking trip, something outdoorsy or like off-griddy, does that pop out to you? Does that make you want like more than a natural disaster or another, disaster in the Ukraine? Like, does the outdoorsy stuff pop out for you guys? Especially those of you who are into sort of the bushcrafty side or the prepper side. Because like there are a lot of prepping channels I used to listen to, but they all seem to have gone off the deep end. And like to a prepper, any kind of story that the world might be ending really pops out, For me, if I like scrolling through the news and I see the name Ray Mears, I stop and I read, Or I see the name Paul Kirtley come across my feed, I stop and I read. Hold on a second. Are you good?
Yeah, weirdest thing. It came up and it kept saying for speakers, use the Yeti mic. I'm like, this thing?
For speakers? Okay.
Yeah. And like I do the drop down list and there's nothing else in the drop down list.
Yeah, that's weird.
Weird. Usually it's my regular speakers and this thing and something else. But then I just restarted Firefox. It came up. Now there's nothing in the drop down list. So, and it's working. So,
all right. Well, as long as it's working. David would love to share what perks his ears in the news, but that would be political. So we'll talk about it another time. Chrissy says yes, especially weather-related items. Yeah. Okay.
What's the subject?
I was asking the question that when like there's the news on, or you're scrolling through, I don't know, Twitter or whatever you scroll to see what's going on, does outdoorsy stuff pop out at anyone? Against the background noise of natural disaster, political unrest here, war in the Ukraine, blah, blah, blah.
Give us an example of something you've seen in the last week that was outdoorsy news.
Something that really, really popped up. Well, there were the 3 pieces of news that I said earlier, right? So one of them, which is very cool, is this guy, the 65-year-old dude from Nova Scotia, does like an 11,000 kilometer round trip kayak trip from Nova Scotia down to the Gulf of Mexico. I'm like, holy shift.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Oh, are you kidding? Yeah, absolutely.
I think they did that like in a kayak, but with a little trolling motor on it, and a great big solar panel right in the middle of the.
I
This is there, and I
that
guess they don't make that noise.
might be defeating the purpose of going in a kayak, though.
But it would be cool. You see the coast, and you stop at these little towns, and
Yeah. I think I would love to do the paddling, because could you imagine my arms when I get back? It's like, oh, the bathroom, it's over there. You know?
it's
Like,
kind of
check out
more of a
these
chest and
guns.
shoulders, isn't it?
Yeah, it is more core. Yeah. I would just like step out of my kayak and hey,
Push a car out of the way.
yeah,
Excuse me.
excuse me. Destiny says news that pops out is when they find a missing person or child who is lost in the woods. Love hearing how they found them. As we all know, most are not found even by the best of search teams. Absolutely. A happy ending to something like that is sort of does tend to warm the cockles of the heart.
Hey, there's Chris. Hey, Chris.
Hi, Chris. Always says it to me is when something silly in pop culture pops up. Oh man,
Oh,
there are so many examples of this, but I'm not gonna get started.
let's get it on. Let's
No,
get
because
started.
that will absolutely get political. But Chris, I feel what you said in such a big way.
That would be like, oh, this man went on this trek in the mountains. But wait, Kanye said something about
Oh
somebody
yeah.
else.
But you know
What?
what's one story historically that really popped out at me was when some guy in Toronto watched a bunch of Bear Grylls and Les Stroud videos, and then sort of walked into the woods and died. And how they interviewed Les Stroud or Bear Grylls, and they said, "We're entertaining you, right? We're a TV show. Don't go into the woods if you don't know what you're doing." And it's like people forget that, like the last thing I want is for somebody to walk into the woods and try to do stuff the way I do it, because yeah, you're gonna die because I'm I'm sitting there taking what I know, but there a lot of it is going by the seat of my pants, because I didn't take any survival courses. I went camping in the 70s right through to the 90s, and I've sort of developed skills through going more into the bushcrafting thing. But like, I would never tell someone to watch my videos and then go and make some knots to protect yourself from a rainstorm.
Well, it's kind of more like Jim Baird. He goes way up north and crosses a glacier for a week.
Yeah.
And it looks cool, and he's polar bears everywhere and shit. But yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it unless you're him.
That's a huge amount of prep for something like that, and a huge amount of experience.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
you kind of when you get talking about like that, it's kind of like the Christopher McCandless story all over again. And
Well, he's kind of the index case, isn't he?
he is, and
You know.
it's kind of sad. I mean, I never read the book, but I saw the movie, and it's sad, and it's a beautiful story in that here's a person who just kind of threw everything aside and went after his dreams. And people will call him an idiot and stuff, but I kind of like to take the high road on it and say, take his example. Don't wander off into the bush unprepared and unskilled and unknowledgeable, but take life by the horns and do what you want. Don't play by the rules.
I like the concept of taking life by the horns. I like the concept of doing what you want. I don't want to walk off into the woods. And I heard some comedians say this once, and it sort of affected the way I see this. He said, when they say at least he died doing what he loved, he said, I don't want to die doing what I loved. I want to die doing something I hate, because that way I don't have to finish. And that's sort of the way I see stuff like this. Like, I want to live doing the things I love. Like, I don't want to walk into the forest with... I don't want to decide I'm going to survive in the forest for 6 months with the skill set I have now. Now I could survive for like 2 weeks. What?
The math on what that comedian said doesn't work. Doing what you love means do a lot of it until you die. It doesn't mean do it and die doing it.
Yeah, but you're denigrating the
damn right.
The punchline.
Sorry, I gotta put math in there. I gotta do the math thing.
But yeah, so I mean, I feel what Chris Prowse says is very, very incisive, because she's absolutely right.
Nice to see you again, Chris.
Yeah, very nice. We got there's Deep Bay Homestead. How's it going, Robin Sharon? Off Grid Recon in the house. Welcome to the side chat. I do love the axe in your avatar, by the way. Oh, okay. So Linda is telling Destiny she got it from Metal Signs Company from Kitchener. Not cheap because I used 2 colors plus the lettering was customized. Yeah, I can hardly imagine what that thing cost. Oh, Russell's got his little axe out again. I do like that thing. I think Russell might have frozen. Yep. We'll just keep talking until Russell comes back. What I hate is how the local news sites are now using clickbait to get you to read an article. You know, it's funny because whenever I see clickbait on a YouTube channel, on a YouTube video, I don't click on it. It might be a fantabulous video, but I don't click on it because I don't want to reward that kind of stuff. Oh, Russell's back.
Am I back?
Yeah, that axe you showed was so fabulous that it killed the internet.
Hold on, there's a spider here I've been trying to get for the last half hour.
All right. Before you get that spider, say goodnight to Chris. He's out. Have a happy week, Chris. Good night, Peanut Trucker. Don't get the spider with the axe, dude.
But you don't think it'll work? I mean, spiders are tough, but I mean, look at this axe.
Yeah, I'm worried about your monitor.
Well, it's not on the monitor; it's on the wall. It's wood.
David says, or 5 people go missing in a sub and steal the front page, but migrants drowning in the med get 10 seconds. Oh my God, I know. But I'm not gonna go off on this on stream. But yes, I buy that too.
You can't. We're not going to get political or religious or any of those things. But
we're going to shy away from
though. I mean, it's not just the news outlets saying this is what we'll feed you. It's us
saying this is what we want as well.
It's the algorithms, even if they're. I mean, we talk about YouTube algorithms and their AI and all, but algorithms have been in place for decades, right? Trying to figure out what people want to watch.
Absolutely. Any luck with that spider?
Well, it comes and goes, and I thought I had something here less killing worth to kill it with, but no, I don't know.
Fair enough.
We get these black spiders in here. They don't bite or anything. I just don't like spiders in my cabin.
I tell you guys about how there used to be a black widow living behind my dad's TV. Every now and again they'd see it, and then it would go back up and see it, and then one day they didn't see it, like it was gone, and they're like, "So where are we gonna sleep?"
Here's me burning down the house.
Burning down the house. Yeah. Kristen says you should use your shoe.
Just get the spider to smell the shoe. Whoa. Oh, for those who don't know, I dropped a beer today, and it's sprayed all over my left shoe.
How do you do these things?
And like 5 minutes out of spider, be like, you know what? I really like you, Russell. I really, really like you. You're cool.
I don't know if this is true, but David Evans says that tasers are good to kill spiders, less lethal than an axe. We're gonna move past the spiders, guys. We're gonna move back into.
Hold on, one more thing. No, I've been thinking of getting one of those salt shooters. Have you heard of them? I've heard of them, but I've never had one. They shoot a little grain of salt.
They're expensive as hell, dude.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That means I gotta have one now.
Fair. Couple of guys in front of computers online. It's expensive, so they're both suddenly trying to write, okay, if I don't eat this week. Yeah. Hey, did I show you guys? That video is not live yet. But look at this postcard that Josie Dinsmore sent me.
That who sent?
Josie Dinsmore.
Josie.
It's a squirrel. To be the most fitting postcard for my channel, it's a squirrel. Her work is good, man. Her Work is really good. This, by the way, is also the first question for my someday Q&A's episode. Yeah, David says, so is buying knives at 2 a.m. But I have not bought a knife at 2 a.m. in a long time. Though I did recently buy a knife. Yeah, $64, eh?
Look at that monster.
Yeah.
That's
So I'm going to do a review of this fairly soon. I think I showed it in a previous live stream, the new Victorinox Venture Pro. I kind of feel like I'm missing the boat on this because there's videos about this knife everywhere because it's brand new. But August is a shift show for me every year. Like this Friday, I'm going to Alberta for my my usual festival gigs. Right, I'll be gone for the 12th to the 11th to the 21st, 22nd actually. Like, it's prime video making time, you know. Hold on 1 second. Country Boy says, if I saw a black widow in my house, I'd pack up and let her have it. I'd even pay her rent for a couple of months. They have, like, you know, my dad lives in the Okanagan, right? So there are black widows on their property. Pam is, Rain Dance Bush, is your P.O. box stable now? Post office isn't messing you up anymore. Well, I had to get 2 P.O. boxes. I have one for parcel mail, which Country Boy used to send me that fabulous guitar strap. And I have one for letter mail, which I believe is in the show notes below here. I have them both on my About page.
You have 2 P.O. boxes?
Yeah.
Isn't that expensive?
Mm-hmm. Yes. But the parcel mail one, you don't have to pay for. It's what they call their flex mail system. So it's not even a real P.O. box. They just, you know, they receive your stuff, have it in the back, and email you when you receive something.
Okay.
It's like a faux P.O. box.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Oh, Off-Grid Recon is Nate?
When did that happen? Neat.
Really? Oh, I was going to visit this user's channel, but of course, as the person running this live stream, I can only put them in timeout or ban them, which I'm not going to do.
You should be able to go to their channel.
Pam says, I just need to find myself a wizard and have everything shipped there. I don't need one. I've got a you know, I've got 2 P.O. boxes. What are you doing?
What am I doing? I'm checking it. See, I was able to do it. You click on the 3 dots and you go to the person's channel.
Oh, I can do it through YouTube, just not through StreamYard. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta stop sharing that screen so you can don't have to look at that.
Fair enough. I'll take a look at it later. But yeah, it's Canada Post used to be a very good service. And it's not a terrible service. It's not a bad service. I mean, USPS is every bit as bad as Canada Post and maybe a little worse in some ways. I used to have a girlfriend in the Bronx, so I had a lot of experience with USPS. But they ain't what they used to be. They really ain't. What you have to pay for has expanded. What you get for what you pay for has shrunk. You know, but like, what's the alternative? Am I going to start? Yeah, but. Anyway.
Are they still in business? I don't even know.
Well, I mean, we need them. It's funny because there are fewer letters rolling around than there used to be, but like, there's so much package mail going around now.
Yes.
You know?
Yep. Did you get into that scotch?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sipping it very slowly.
Okay.
I think I showed what I'm having here. The the Glengoyne 10-year. I'm having this because it's a 43%, so it's not going to mess me up. Grace says, we have a bug assault gun. Mister thinks it's great, but it makes a mess. Salt all over everything. Really not good for the hardwood floors. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I got crap everywhere anyway. I don't think I mind a little salt.
And you don't have hardwood floors, so you
I don't have
to
hardwood floors.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, and it's funny because I bought 2 rock glasses from Norland. They're sort of their rocks glasses. And each of those glasses costs as much as that salt gun. So I'm not the person to sit here and say that thing is so expensive.
Well, yeah. You go, how about all the scotch you buy?
Yeah, that's true.
You have glasses to show for it.
Yeah. David is asking if anyone's bought a small ultrasonic cleaner. No, I have not. Has anyone?
What would that be? I don't even know what that is.
There's a couple of different models. One is like, you fill your sink with water, you throw it in, and it sort of ultrasonicizes the dirt and stuff off of whatever else you put in there.
That's interesting.
I don't know. It kind of seems like a solution in search of a problem to me.
I went like I forget the term. Never mind.
Okay.
Nanobot cleaners.
I don't even know what that is.
Nanobots? They're like infinitely small. Like they're not infinitely small. They're very, very small. You can't see them. Like a single nanobot can enter a cell. But you get a lot of them together, working together, and they just kind of roam around taking the dirt outside.
Taking the world over.
Oh, that's the negative, view. If that's the way you want to go.
I've always been half glasses half empty type of person, and I see no reason to change that tonight. Okay.
Whatever, man.
Always been Nate. Okay, good. All right, good to know. I've always been Jess myself. What are you doing?
Oh, chicken cup. I didn't realize that was being picked up. You know what Jess's middle name is? Fart Boy. Jess Fart Boy Corbeil. I don't know why he doesn't like it.
My middle name is actually worse than
that. Worse than Fart Boy?
Those of you who have canoes,
changes the subject.
Moving right along. Well, because since I mentioned someday buying a canoe earlier in the show here, like, I don't know what kind of paddle I want to buy. Like,
uh-huh.
The thing is, no, I do kind of know what kind of paddle I want to buy, but they're expensive as shift. And like, I sort of think about how, like, for someone like me who's 52 and who's not going to become a professional YouTuber, paddling like the Bairds and stuff, is it worth it to really spend big on like a Hunter and Harris? I'm the type who will spend the extra for something that gives me the fizz rather than just buying the flat basic anything. But I do feel the need to temper that a little bit, and like, so there's Badger, which seem to be very popular, and the prices are a whole lot more reasonable. But like, I only know 2 kind of quasi-artisanal paddle making companies. Those are the only 2 I know.
I could get you an Amazon paddle for pretty cheap.
like $10. Yeah, but
Canoe paddle.
David says, I can't imagine spending $5K on a canoe. I really could.
$40.
Nice, $40. And like for me, the canoe is a canoe, a paddle, and a week alone. That's my midlife crisis, right? I'm not buying a Ferrari and a 20-year-old for my midlife crisis. My midlife crisis is a $5,000 canoe and some time alone. Maybe a really expensive bottle of scotch for, night times. But Linda says Canada Post is a PITA. Oh no, it's a PITA. Okay, I was like, what the hell? I'm remote, and they won't leave parcels. Why? They leave stuff for me all the time.
Canada Post won't leave parcels?
They leave parcels here all the time. The worst story once, though, was my fiddler sent me a box of whiskeys that I had bought. I've told you guys that I buy whiskeys and have them shipped to his place in Calgary, and when I have enough for a box, he ships it. This time he had checked off leave card, thinking that what that meant was if I'm not there, they'll leave a card, logically. But what it meant was no matter what, leave the card. So the guy drove up, got out of his truck, carried the box up, rang the bell. I reached out. I almost had my hands on the box, and then he saw the check mark for leave a card. So he snatched the box away from me, carried it back to his truck, and then brought me a card.
No way.
And said, it will be at the post office at 1 p.m. tomorrow. And I said, but I'm here. This is me. I'm real. And I said, it says leave card. So the next day I had to walk 2 clicks to the post office with a wagon to get my box.
That doesn't make a lick of sense.
I was like, you encephalitic idiot. But he just would not do it. He was like, I'm sorry, I wasn't even supposed to bring it up to your door. I'm like, yeah, but now you did.
That's just...
My name is on that box.
That sounds like a guy who hates his job. Just wants to spread the hate.
Just wants to spread the pain. Yeah. Off-grid recon, Nate says, some of those high mountain lakes seem so tempting with a good solo canoe. Very interesting. Absolutely. Okay, so you're in Oregon? 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 I think it's Oregon. Pam says that just his new book, he's going to write A Canoe, a Paddle, and a Week Alone. It's a great name for a book. David says, think of all the knives you can buy for $5K. Yeah, but I don't want that many knives. I'm not a knife collector. Chris says, Red Tail's Ottertail Deluxe paddle is great, affordable, and durable. Just $56 at Mountain Equipment Company. We paddled them for the better part of a decade before switching to carbon fiber paddles 2 years ago. I'm going to look at those then. Yeah, I'm going to look at those. I'm taking note of that. Red Tail's Otter Deluxe.
You know what? I think Dave's got the right idea there, Jess. If you didn't buy any scotch for the next 2 years, there's your canoe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe even 1 year. I don't know.
Yeah. Lipstick Lodge says, get a long kayak paddle. No, the thing is, I'm a classicist. I want a canoe the old-fashioned way. One paddle. J-stroking my way off into the wilderness. I don't want like a pack boat. And it's too bad because Dennis is selling a nice prospector, but it's a pack boat, which is what I don't want. Because that would be a great way to get some of that Swift goodness without spending the full price.
If you're going for a wooden paddle, I think that $56 sounds
pretty
more
good,
than reasonable.
Yeah, I took note of that.
But she's also right in that there are far lighter paddles out there that will resist the elements.
David says, how about a stand-up paddleboard? I don't know. My wife bought one. They seem to really like it.
I can see Jess on a canoe trip. There's like 2 canoes, guys going like this, and Jess is on his paddleboard.
Yeah.
Hold up. It's a little shaky.
Guys, guys.
Gonna do some fishing now. Damn it.
Oh, I'm in the drink.
Oh, fish on. There goes Jess.
Yeah, zoom.
We'll catch up to him one day.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of minutiae I have to really plan before I can actually buy the canoe. Like I need to have a roof rack so I can carry the damn thing. And I think I'm going to build sort of a pulley system in the garage so I can just lift it up into the ceiling. Because there's no way that the missus will allow me to put it in the backyard. There's no room. There's just no room. Could maybe keep it at my
I've
mother-in-law's.
said it before. If you cut it in half, you can get it into your basement. You know.
I could.
Like it's got to be lengthways cut in half.
Mm-hmm. You know what I would love to do is, I don't remember the name of the company, but I think it's somewhere in Ontario. They sell these kits for you can build your own cedar strip canoe. I would love to build a 16-foot prospector cedar strip canoe.
I think you mentioned that once.
Yeah,
that'd be an interesting project if you had the time.
I would video the whole
thing. I mean,
thing.
It sounds time consuming, right?
Yeah, I just got to win the lottery so I can, become a leisure class. Chris says the Otter Tail Deluxe has a resin tip. Interesting. Yeah, because the thing about a wooden tip is I'm always afraid to tap rocks, or use it to leverage myself against rocks to get along. So a resin tip sounds good to me. Yeah, and at $56, that sounds like a win. Nate has a pulley system in the garage for removing your rooftop tent. 8-to-1 system, yeah, so that would be easy. Is that on a Jeep by any chance? It seems like 90% of people with a rooftop tent are driving a Wrangler.
What?
Or a Land Rover Defender.
I was thinking Mike McQuilton bought another Jeep.
He bought another Jeep?
He put out a video a couple of days ago. He was showing it's old, it hasn't run for years, and he wasn't sure whether to use it for parts or fix it up, and I guess he would sell it, although he didn't exactly say he would sell it. But that guy, I don't know if he said specifically, but he's got to be a mechanic.
He's got the skills. Nate's got a Jeep Gladiator, which is essentially a Wrangler with a pickup box on it. Cool car.
Jeep Gladiator.
Cool
I'm
Jeep,
looking it up. I've never heard of that before.
I've seen a bunch of them around town.
Oh yeah, okay.
What I like about them is that with the pickup, because I'm always carrying piles of stuff around that I don't want to scratch up the inside of an SUV kind of thing. But
holy heck! Okay, I got to share this.
I don't see anything. Oof, that one's really kitted out, eh?
Is that it, Nate?
Well, that's it with a whole bunch of extra stuff, and it's got a lift kit. Why do they do a lift kit? Why lift kit a car?
That's like everything extra.
That's a prepper's Gladiator.
We've got gas tanks on the side.
Yeah. David Evans says, why not just buy a used canoe for now and keep it at your mother-in-law's? Yeah, that's actually the plan. I just haven't had time to do it. I was going to do it in early 2020, but life was weird. Yeah, if I could just buy a $600 or $400 canoe to paddle around and get the skills back up before spending big, that would be great.
That's an excellent idea, David. I mean, you could actually use it at your mother-in-law's, right?
Yeah. Yeah, she lives on Lac de Montagne, a lake of two mountains. Yeah. Could do a lot of practicing. Get with Camille and me out and paddling around. I would love to be able to afford to do like a weekend canoe course with Camille, one of these years, either at that. There's kind of a whitewater school somewhere in Ontario, the name of which escapes me all the time. Becky Mason also does courses. It'd be nice to do something, even just sort of as well, A, as a skills development, but B, it'd be a great way to do some content for my channel, Off-grid Recon
Yep.
says lift kit helps get the spring rate correct for the added weight of gear. Also allows the larger tires that help smooth out logging roads. I have a cousin who's got a redonkulous lift kit on an F-150. I know that lift kits come in different sizes, and I feel that I get what you're saying about lift kit to a certain size, but his just looks redonkulous. It's like his truck is on stilts.
I don't know. Lift kits, like, if you're going to get the bigger size of tires on there, but look at the axle on this thing. It's that back axle is still pretty low. I mean, that's your clearance, right?
Yeah. Oh, I see. Because the lift kit obviously doesn't bring the axle any higher. It's the larger tires that bring the axle higher.
Exactly, right? So, I mean, how much bigger are these tires than the original tires?
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be more than a few inches, right? I mean, Nate is going to clear us up on that, but and I know from experience, bottoming out with my FJ Cruiser is that's where you run into trouble.
Yeah. Kristen says somebody is in my closet. That's actually a room back there. I have people staying over, so someone is going to bed back there, I think. Yeah. That's my
I got a disco ball in my back pocket. Boy, that sounded weird.
Yeah. Yeah. What I need to do is just buy a roof rack for the car. Yeah, I don't have to get like the integral rails and all that stuff. You can buy just a clamp on roof rack.
So what kind of car is it?
It's a 2014 CX-5, Mazda CX-5.
Man, I don't know anything about cars. I'm gonna have to look that up.
It was probably the prettiest SUV on the market that year. It's really good looking, really nice lines, really nice.
Okay, yeah, a roof rack, and then you tie it off at the front somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, so Nate says 33 inches factory, 37s on his. 2.5 inches is all you need. Yeah, okay, so that's kind of a reasonable lift kit. The one my cousin's got on his car it's just horrifying.
I've heard it. Well, and Nate, and at what point do you worry about like your center of gravity raises up, right? So when you're going side to side over like rough terrain, and I know this from driving my FJ, but more so from driving my ATV. Like when you're going side to side, when the center of gravity raises, you really start to rock really fast.
Yeah, I'm not at ease on those ATVs at all because of that. I have a natural tendency to expect to tip over, so I'm not at ease on an ATV at all. Oh, here's a question for you from Chris Russell.
Oh, I love my FJ Cruiser. It's showing its age though. I mean, it's a 2008, so it's getting old. And just today, in fact, something broke on it. It's the arm for the back door. Open up, the arm goes doing. Nope.
Whoops.
So now one end is attached, and one end isn't. But I love the FJ Cruiser. It's been really good to me. It's a Toyota.
Yeah, the FJ's got a real cool character to it. I've always loved the look of them.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rusting in a few spots, but it's not bad. I mean,
the nice thing about Toyotas is that they'll run forever. Like the engine will keep going long after the body is rusted to hell.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the engines run fine, but
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny because I drove it into when my wife bought her RAV4 last year. We went into my FJ Cruiser and parked, and went and talked to the sales guy. And a couple of days later, I got an email from another sales guy. Hey, you got an FJ Cruiser? Do you want to sell it? I'm like, no. He was bugging me about it for a while.
Yeah. Oh, Linda says Madawaska. Yes, that's what I'm thinking about. Oh, you took their whitewater course. Nice. Do you suggest it? I can't afford it, especially for two of us, but it is something I would love to do. Nate says, with the lift, most change the offset of the wheels a bit. Oh, I see. It's like on yours, the wider track makes up for the 2.5 inches of lift. Still has decent side hillability. Interesting. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Nate does some off-roading.
I looked into the lift kit for the FJ Cruiser, and it turns out like bigger tires in the FJ Cruiser, and you start getting problems with the wheel well. I think the
Okay.
wheel well, like the wheel well isn't big enough for the bigger tires, so there's instructions on how to, where to cut.
Oh, I was gonna
Like,
say, bring up that image of the Gladiator again because I'm sure that the front fenders have been cut away. I see like a lot of Jeeps with the big lift kit. The front, yeah, it looks to me like the fenders
yes,
are cut
front and
away.
back,
Yeah,
front and back. Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
That a lot of work there. Jeez.
yeah. I bet you that's got to be like $100,000 machine right there. Absolutely.
Where's
I
Al? Why doesn't Al buy stuff like this?
because he's
No, he's
too
got to
busy
go for
buying. You know,
1969 Camaros.
yeah, yeah. Nate says the FJ is a mean machine. Toyotas often need a body mount removal for the bigger tires. Interesting. Okay. To me, my dream machine is like an old school Land Rover Defender, the 120. You know when they still had those two little flippy doors under the windshield because there was no air conditioning and they needed some airflow in there. There's a real magic to those old machines. I I wouldn't buy one because I don't get off on spending my Saturdays under the hood of a classic car. But I even like the new Defender, not as much, but I like it. I like that kind of car. I wish that I didn't care about carbon footprint because I would absolutely have one. I like the Wrangler. Their plug-in it looks really good, but I mean I like the Wrangler. I just like Wranglers. Pam would get a very nice vintage Bronco. What, you don't like the new ones? They're cool. Yeah, you like old iron as well. There's some magic in old cars. Um, Kristen says tell my wife I want the whitewater course at Madawaska for Christmas for me and my daughter. That is expensive. I mean, she makes a lot more money than me, but that's still big ticket item. I will raise the idea and see how that goes. Let's just say it that way. Country Boy is saying something to Nate right now. Oh yeah, they're agreeing. Yeah, um, there's an off road driving course here in Quebec near Montebello that's offered by Land Rover, and they've got a whole sort of course and they teach you how to how to navigate that kind of thing. And it's crazy how slow you drive. Like someone who knows nothing thinks you just but these guys are teaching you to take it slow and don't
Oh,
roll the car.
it's a very technical thing. It's like inch forward, inch forward, inch forward, inch forward. For
Yeah.
the next like 100 meters, it's inch forward, inch forward.
Yeah.
Like no, back off. You got a little bit different. So Chris, what have you got any adventures lined up? What are you guys doing? What are you girls doing? I don't know how
What do you
guys
folks?
became the same as girls.
Yeah, it's funny because I mean I just I just refer to everyone as folks now, um,
Mm.
because in some circles guys has become a unisex word, and I'm okay with that, and in some it just hasn't. So I just say folks. How you folks doing? Sounds kind of down homey, doesn't it?
it's an older person word, and I don't mean older than us. I just mean
Yeah.
if they're people in their 20s, do you still call them folks? If they're in their 30s, do you still call them folks?
Do you two fine individuals have any adventures coming up? If Chris is still here. Nate says to start calling everyone governor. Makes everyone happy. That is a particularly British thing to say.
Oh, you gotta do that right. That's not right. It's
No,
not governor.
It's governor.
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 Governor. Governor. There's some apostrophes there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. Some of them are even silent. I feel
silent apostrophes.
Well, you know, in some, like in linguistics, sometimes an apostrophe is a sign for a glottal stop, or in some First Nations languages, right?
I do not know that.
It's just one of the really boring things I know about. This is why I'm no fun at parties. Ah, there we go. Kristen's got it. Just call them friendlies like I always do.
Oh, how about humans?
Humans.
That should
been a
work.
bit of a slow summer for us. Julie was rear-ended. Whoa. Concussion. Shite. Oop. I just demonetized myself. Yeah, that's not good.
Sue their asses off.
Yeah,
right?
take them down.
Take 'em
Like
down.
we know anything about this story, right? But
Well,
distracted driver might mean that there's legal recourse there. Well, they're probably already. Listen to us, Russell.
yeah, we're not lawyers, but shake their shit out. Excuse me, you already said shit though, right? So we're good.
But yeah, so that's too bad. It's like with a concussion, you can suffer for a good long time. So I'm hoping that it's not too bad right now.
Speedy recovery, Julia.
Yeah, holy crap, that's not good news at all. We'll get out for an end of summer camping trip to Algonquin, hopefully. This is very likely my band's last time going to that music festival we play at every August. Just because my fiddle player's job, his situation has changed, so we can no longer fly for quite as affordably as we have. And the festival does not pay enough to pay for our tickets and still make it worth our while. So the idea of like not losing my August to A, 2 birthdays, and B, 12 days at a music fest is kind of exciting. Like maybe next year I can actually use my summer for something bushcrafty or paddling related.
September. Don't do it in the summer.
September is a better month, I feel, for except like this idea of taking the paddling courses. I'd kind of like to do that in the hottest part of the year, wouldn't I? Because in most of these courses, the first thing you do is bail, right? Do I want to fall into the water in like mid-September?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes to that.
Make you feel alive, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, you go in the water in mid-September. Okay, you're cold for a while, but if you go in the summer, it's gonna be bugs nonstop, 24/7.
Flies or mosquitoes. I guess you're right. I don't know.
Mosquitoes and deer flies and oh my.
Pam says, city near me just finished building out a $95 million, I guess, whitewater kayaking park. How does one build a kayaking park? This is a couple of those I've heard of now. Like, how big is that? Like, holy crap. Because you have to have room to kayak around. Whitewater, excuse me, or not. Am I correct? I want to see pictures, people. Photographs. Pixar didn't exist. It's like a lazy river with rapids. Okay. All right. Good to know. One thing I definitely want to develop a skill of as soon as possible is dealing with like class 1 rapids. I don't want to necessarily, jump into anything too crazy, but Chrissy says to Russell, Google it and show it. She's talking about a whitewater kayak park. It's okay. I'll just look it up later, unless you guys need to see it.
I'll use AI to show me a picture of whitewater rafting.
Don't use AI. It always messes up the hands.
Did you see what I wrote in Discord too?
Not yet.
It was one of the most horrific things I've ever kind of pulled up with AI.
I don't want to know about it. Or at least I don't want to know about it in public. Don't send me pictures. Oh, God.
I'll send you pictures.
Russell, you have a skill for making me cringe that is downright legendary.
I gotta be me.
You gotta be you. I am, moving right along because I'm getting troubled by the images. I had something brilliant to share with you people, and I just can't remember it. And I've only got like 13 more minutes.
Was it something to do with having more vacation time, or?
It was going to riff off the idea that next year I most likely will not be at the festival that we go to, and it's funny to think of that as freedom, because man, that festival happens in some spectacular territory. I mean, you know, you're right up against the Rockies. You drive through Banff to get to the festival, right? We're on Abraham Lake, which was a man-made lake. It was created in 1972 by a dam, but it's spectacular. It doesn't look like a man-made lake at all. Mountains, trees. I've done a couple of videos there now. In fact, I did a whole video on gigging in Alberta a few years ago, which on my 10th anniversary live stream, part of me kind of wanted to show, but I mean, as you guys know, those of you who watched, I was trying not to show anything too long because I didn't want to bore you guys with... You know what I should have done tonight? I should have done my giveaway drawing tonight, because I was going to do it on Sunday, and then it didn't happen. I should have done it tonight. Oh well. I'll do it this week. I have to do it soon. I'm going to Alberta at the end of the week. Linda says, I was off work 8.5 months with my concussion. You can't drive a bus in bad roads. Truth. 8.5 months. Holy crap. Oh, yeah. What a crappy story. And a distracted driver on top of it.
Way to bring us down, guys.
Yeah. Still. Like, well, whatever. I'm thinking good thoughts for Julia, though. That's not a good story.
Yeah. Be right back.
Oh, you're getting a beverage? It is called the Bevvies Blades and Bushcraft live stream. So while Russell is doing that, I will entertain you all lightly with I don't know. I keep sort of thinking about this magazine I've been reading. What'd you get? What is the beverage of choice?
Liquor Red.
Liquor Red. But that's not like a great beer.
It's not like a what?
That's not a great beer, though. That's not like the...
No.
Yeah.
No, I drink crap beer.
So that you don't drink too much of it?
Yep.
That's why I'm having this, this sort of... It's not a second-rate scotch by any stretch. It's quite good, but, 43%. Maybe I'll pour just a small dram for the 11 minutes we have left. I kind of wish I could fit more live streaming into my week. But I don't think I could be interesting for more than like 2 hours a week. Yeah,
you're good for about an hour, actually.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I do is now that I've restarted the live streams, I plan out an hour, and then I allow for an hour of, hey, Sean's here.
Uh, You're like, here's the first hour planned, and then second hour, Russell.
Well, I just call it the free for all because I keep expecting people will want to come on and chit chat, but nobody ever does.
Sean, what's your internet like there? You can join us for the last 10 minutes. If it's fish season, then the internet's going to be crap.
Well, he has a hard time with the summers because of
exactly
all the tourists.
It's fish season.
Yeah. All right, Nate. Have yourself a good night, and I'll speak to you later. Nate. Have yourself a good night. No idea. Send a link. Are you sending one, or am I gonna? Yeah, you do it.
I got it. I'm on this. Yeah. Continue to fascinate everybody with you.
I shall continue to be fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. You know what's funny? And I'm going to say this in my review, so I don't want to talk about it too much, but the instructions that Victorinox gives you with their items are terrible. And they say, because nobody gives you printed instructions anymore, they scan the QR code, which isn't showing up because of my lighting. Scan the QR code for more instructions, and they're garbage. They're piss poor. And I'm someone who writes instruction books for a living. So it's just... I just dropped it. I find myself watching YouTubes about this knife to see how to put this stuff together. It's like, you guys are professionals. David Evans says, "Who run the 10th anniversary giveaway?" I don't know yet. I was gonna do the drawing tonight during the live stream, and then I forgot. I was gonna do it during the 10 o'clock free for all.
So is there gonna be another update video?
Yeah. My original plan was actually to do a short video Sunday night. But it's been... Hi, Sean. How's it going, mister?
Hey, Sean.
Look at that house. Look at that house that Sean built.
Look at that shirt. What the hell? Are you wearing insulation?
No, that's not very nice.
LL Bean shirt one of my viewers sent me. So.
They're opening an LL Bean in Quebec this year, which is interesting.
You know what?
I see a lot of pink stuff.
Hang on 1 second.
Okay.
I see a lot of insulation.
Yep.
I think I'm clear.
Hey. Well,
I'll be right back.
You're frozen. Okay. Did you insulate with that pink stuff, or did you do the blow-in stuff?
I did. It's rock wool. So it's not pink. It's rock wool.
But it's the soft cottony stuff.
Yeah, it's cottony. It's the important part about it is it's a good R value, but the important part is it doesn't burn. Because I've tried to burn bits and pieces that were left over. It doesn't burn.
Good night, David. Thanks for hanging out and being a mod.
Great. We'll see you on the 21st.
21st?
We're going to the Lantern Barn.
Oh, you're going to the Lantern Barn?
Yeah. Are you in? Road trip.
I'm not even home from Alberta yet on the 21st. I'm going home on the 29th. 22nd. 29th.
Excuses.
I really want to see that Lantern Barn. I really want to see it. What's it called again? I keep trying to Google it, but I can never find it.
It's got some weird name. I'll remind me tomorrow. I'll send you a link.
Sure.
I did a video,
Yes, you did. Truth. Hi, Sean.
Much better.
There we go. Look at that house you're building. Look at that.
I think it's all green screen.
You think it's all green screen? It's not real?
It doesn't move. Look, just keep looking at that ladder. That ladder right there, it doesn't move.
He's still sitting in his camper right now.
All right. That's not true.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, fancy CG.
Destiny, by the way, Russell says to be sure to take a video of the trip to the Lantern Barn. Who you're talking to, Destiny? Of course he's going to take a video. You having a little tell-them-more do there, Sean?
I probably should. Yeah, I think I will. Good idea, Jess. Good call.
For the last 5 minutes of the stream, he's going to have a little...
See, that's an awesome host right there.
Huh? Right?
Sean, have you bought your wood stove yet?
Oh. We'll do a little celebration. Oh.
I'm feeling highly celebratory, I guess.
Did you say celebratory?
Celebratory. Celebration.
That's better than celibate.
Just clarifying. Just clarifying.
Yeah.
Oh, John's got to be the hammer in the room.
He's got to be the hammer. Tell him our do.
We're like sewing, and Sean comes in with a hammer. You guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, you've even got a glass. Cheers.
Yeah, Pam says it's still early in Alaska. That is truth. Kristen says, how's about a sneak peek of the roof? Or the roof, as Sean would call it.
The roof.
Oh, you want a sneak peek of the roof?
See? Do I know my Americans or what? Yeah, look at that.
Joe and Zach was always like that, too.
Wow, huh?
I'm going to open the roof.
Yeah. I was actually working on that video today, so.
Were you?
Cool. Yeah. Fishing's over. I've already caught my salmon. I'm good to go.
Oh, how many did you get?
I think the total tally was like 23 when I was done.
Wow. Nice.
23 deadly fish.
To go with, what about probably 20 pounds of halibut I have in the freezer now too, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that'll last you for a year?
Yeah, I mean, I eat a lot of it, but I don't eat that much of it, so I'm probably going to take another batch this weekend and smoke it up. Because I eat more smoke than I do, like just cooking up salmon on the grill or stuff like that. I like a good piece of smoked salmon to munch on.
I think I can actually eat halibut. Isn't that a whitefish?
Yes.
Yeah. I do love smoked good stuff, food stuffs for sure.
So, John, what's the status on the wood stove?
It's sitting right here. So I took the week off this last week from working on the roof, and as I'm putting the metal on the roof, I'm putting the pipe in up for the wood stove. So, I mean, it's right there.
Because I remember you making a comment that you were waiting on the guy you were buying it from at some point.
Yeah, and so let me see if I get this to stay there without falling off. There we go. So I had to drive up to Palmer to get it, which is about a 4-hour drive.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a day trip. Drove up to Palmer, picked it up, came down. But when I bought it, he had all the stove pipe. It's all triple wall stainless steel that went with it. So it's more than enough to get through my ceiling. The only thing I don't have is the piece that actually goes through the ceiling.
Okay.
And that holds all the pipe up.
So how hard is it to get one of those?
I'm actually talking to a company right now. Okay. I'm actually it's pipe specific. So this is my pipe is by a company called Selkirk. So it's Selkirk metal bestis triple wall piping. So I have to get the Selkirk piece that goes through. And I had some questions on it because when I looked it up, it was perfect. It's got hinges on the side of it, so you mount those right to the flat of your roof, and it's the piece of pipe that goes right up, and it comes with everything that I need for the outside too.
But my question so it doesn't matter what the cant of the roof is.
Right, then. Doesn't matter what the angle is.
Okay. But
when I read it, it said for a 612 pitch roof, and I went, well, that's not going to work for me because I have a 912 pitch roof. So we've been going back and forth with emails, and I finally got the right answer today. The only piece that won't work with the 912 pitch is the cover on the inside. I just have to order that separately. So I'm going to order that kit, but with the 912 inside piece, and then I'll be able to go.
So does 912 mean like 9 inches per 12 feet kind of thing? Is that what?
For 12 inches. So for every for every foot, it rises 9 inches.
Okay.
Yeah, I also did the Selkirk method, and yeah, it was tricky. Are you planning on doing all that yourself, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, because I don't have the metal on the roof yet, so I figured that it's actually going to be pretty easy. If I screw the stupid OSB up, I'll just pull that sheet up and put another sheet down there. But it should be pretty simple because I don't have the metal on the roof. And then once I have the hole through the OSB, it'll be much easier to drill, underneath the metal and cut around the hole.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you going to use to cut that? Like a Sawzall or something?
Yeah.
I believe I started by just drilling a hole. I didn't use a Sawzall though. I think I cut it with tin snips.
Oh, did you do snips? They make a tin snip attachment for the end of your cordless drill.
Really?
And there's a guy that is building a place up here. Him and his wife. They just got married this year, and they watched the channel, invited me down to their place, and I looked. I go, how did you cut all that tin to fit? Was that a pain in the neck? And he pulled the tool out and showed it to me. And he goes, dude. So I took a picture of it. Home Depot carries it. All the hardware stores carry it. You can buy it online. It's about $150, but $150 is well worth not having the hand cramps when I'm done.
Yeah, that's for sure. I would love to see that thing.
It's scary. It's scary as hell cutting a hole in your metal roof. And I think what I did, because I had the metal all in place when I did mine, and I had so I got a box going through the ceiling here, and then stovepipe from here to this ceiling, which is double walled, and then the box, and then from there up is chimney. So it's a insulated chimney. I guess it's also double walled, but it's insulated, right?
Right.
But when I went to cut through the plywood and then the metal roofing, I put a marker on a ruler, like a long ruler, and just kind of went around the chimney. And it sort of worked, but sort of didn't, because I drilled up and I cut it, and it was too small, and I cut it again. It was still too small, and I cut it again. That's okay. It's like incrementally, I'm gonna get it just a little bit bigger until it works. Because of course, if you get it too big, then you've messed up, and your metal roof is trash.
Right, and that's my big concern.
Like a flange for that?
Huh?
You can't just buy some sort of flange for that if you accidentally go a little too big?
Well, yeah. The roof kit that I'm buying has a flange cover on it, but at the same time, you only have so much room there because it's at an angle. When it goes up, it's not a circle. When it goes through your ceiling, it's more of an elongated ellipsis. So, you only have so much room to play with there.
And the other thing I did, Sean, you'll find out right away that there's if there's a gap between your chimney and your plywood, mice can still come in there. So you want to get up there with some expanding foam.
The foam?
The expanding foam, just spray around your chimney where it meets the plywood and as high up as you can get.
That's it's a fireproof foam?
Right. Well, most of that stuff is pretty much fireproof.
It doesn't matter, because at that point it's chimney. It's insulated chimney. Like I've got stuff right next to the chimney. It gets warm on your hands, like fire burning really hot. It gets warm on your hands, but it can touch like the plywood that in your roof. It can touch anything. Okay. It's all it does is get warm.
Yeah, so it's triple wall. It's triple wall when it goes through, and then a lot of people run double wall on the inside. And after talking to a couple of fireplace stores, they said the main reason why people run the double wall on the inside, even though it does generate the heat, most of the heat's coming from your stove, but they run the double wall so they can get the wood stove back against the wall closer.
Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Sean. The stove itself. Okay, so my stove, I can shove right back up there because I've got that rock board. What is it called? Rock board. It's not drywall, but it's
the cement board. The hardy backer.
Cement board. Yeah. So I can shove my stove right up like 6 inches away. But the stovepipe itself is, I got double walled stovepipe, but I've been in places where they've got single walled. And the heat coming off that stovepipe is like amazing. Like I put my arm all the way up and go, holy hell, there's a lot of heat coming off of that. Whereas mine, there's almost no heat coming off that double-walled stovepipe. And I think I'm losing a lot of heat because it's double-walled. And there's, even if I move my wood stove right back as far as I can move it, like 6 inches from the wall, that stovepipe being where it is, it's not going to be anywhere within 2 feet. And I think 2 feet is the minimum, right? And I'm thinking I should replace it with single walled because I'm losing a ton of heat because it's double walled.
And when I bought this, when I bought this stove and got all the pipe with it, the lower section of pipe that I got is all single wall.
Yeah, I'm thinking like the first 6 feet on this could be single walled really easily, and I'd get a ton of heat out of that. But I don't think I don't even know if they sell single walled around here anymore because it's not up to code.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Here they do. You can buy it here all over.
Look who just joined us.
Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Steve.
Nine Toes.
Better late than never, I guess.
Nine Toes finishes gaming. We probably rage quit.
We're going to go for another 5 minutes. We'll go until 10 past 11 because Steve just joined us. But then I'm going to shut her down in the name of...
this. Yeah, you started late, didn't you?
I did. 10 minutes late. Had a little bit of technical issues.
Yeah, so this week we'll be back on the roof again now that the fish is done. And then I still have to insulate the floor, but I want to make sure I have everything up above done before I insulate the floor. The main reason why I haven't done that yet is I've had a few leaks on the inside wall because of the tarp. Okay. So I didn't want to have floor insulation full of water. So
fair enough. Hey, what are you cladding the inside of the ceiling with?
It's going to be wood. I just haven't decided what kind yet.
Nice.
In the bathroom, I'm looking at doing a combination of probably sheetrock on the ceiling just because it'll be easy to do my fixtures and easier to keep clean, for moisture. And then probably cedar on the walls.
Cedar, man, your house will smell fabulous.
Sean, do this.
Look at
this.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. That's nice, man. That's expensive, though. Holy crap, that stuff is pricey.
Pine tongue roof?
Yeah.
There's the box going through the first floor.
What's the pitch of your roof, Russ?
I don't remember off the top of my head. It's fairly steep. I get a little scared walking on it.
It's at least probably a 612.
At least, yeah.
Okay.
When you're deciding the pitch of your roof,
what am I going to want now?
When you guys are deciding the pitch of your roofs, what are the factors? Like, obviously, the more, the more pointu, whatever it is, the easier
factor.
snow comes off. But,
there's one factor.
What's that?
I want to be able to stand up right in the middle of the room.
So is that the same for you, Sean? Like it's
So when I did it, I did two things. I went with 10-foot walls, and I went with that 9/12 pitch. Originally, I was looking at a 12/12 pitch, and then I said, "Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that." And I'll never do a 9/12.
Really...
Yeah, 12/12 is a 45-degree angle, and that's just way too steep. But it would have given me that much more room upstairs quicker, closer to the walls. But because I did let's see if I can turn it a little bit so you can see it. Okay, so because I did, there we go. Because I did the 10-foot walls, if you look at the closet there, I don't know if you can really see the closet right there. Mm-hmm. The whole back of that closet is against the wall. So, I mean, literally, I could stand up like within a foot of that closet. I could be standing straight up. And that was my main reason for going with a steeper pitched roof, so that I would have headroom upstairs. I didn't want a loft that I climbed into and I couldn't, that the only thing I could do was sit up. I wanted room.
Yeah. People who like crawl up and then crawl into bed, right?
Right.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
I did the same thing when I originally designed the first design for my cabin. It was like, I'll just crawl up. It'll just be a loft. I'll crawl up there. I'll crawl into bed. I'll be fine. And I'm not sure. At one point I said, I think it might be nice to actually be able to stand up.
I would not be fine just crawling up and crawling into bed. I would be way too claustrophobic. I'd be afraid of like waking up from a nightmare and going "Tow" on my head on the roof.
I just didn't want the trailer effect because it's the same thing as my bedroom in the trailer, so I could sit up in my bedroom in the trailer, but if I got up off the bed, I hit my head on the ceiling.
Bump, yeah. Yeah. Steve said he thinks that Russell at one point said 6'12".
That's kind of what it looked like to me. That's why I was asking, because if he can walk on it, for me to, and you'll see on Friday's video, I've got the safety harness and everything that I wear when I climb up on that roof, but I literally need the rope to pull myself up to the peak of the roof. I can walk up it, but I have to walk up it as I'm pulling the rope like a Batman scene. So, because it's that steep.
But like, if you guys didn't build lofts into your cabins, you could go like look at the pitch on Dick Prenicke's cabin, right?
Right.
That was a 1-story,
fairly low
cabin. Like this, like to the point where, in Alaska, like you got to deal with snow that's worse than in Montreal, and even here you can get like a lot of snow, right? So I would expect everything to be a little more pointu, whatever the hell pointu is.
Well, I mean, a 412 pitch is pretty common up here.
Is it?
But if I didn't do the kind of roof that I did, then I would have more than likely had. If I didn't do a loft, I would have bought trusses, and then I wouldn't have gone through the whole hassle of building my own roof.
Okay. Fair enough.
But the problem, the thing is, you have a lot more space if you build a loft, right? You double your space. Well, not quite double, but it's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it adds. Well, it's basically 10 feet by 15 feet of usable room, so I added an extra 150 square feet above the kitchen and that of space I wasn't using anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yep.
Yeah. We're at 11:11. I said we'd go until 10 past 11. Sean, nice to see you.
Good to see you guys.
Nice to have you on the stream. And chug it. Yep. Chug. No, we're not gonna chug whiskey.
I'm too old. I sip.
Yeah, me too. I made a couple of old fashions at my wife's birthday party yesterday, and I was pretty tired after them.
Birthday?
So we're at 12 past 11. I'm pleased as punch to have been able to do this live stream. I will see whether or not I can do one while I'm in Alberta. I did one last year. We'll see. If I can't, then I'll see everyone in 2 weeks. If I can, then I'll see everyone next week, between now and next week, or 2 weeks from now, depending. Everybody, please be sane, be healthy, be happy, and be kind to one another. I kind of feel I blew that.
You did. And be soup.